Welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast, a podcast devoted to you and your excellence, providing inspiration and education for the entrepreneurs, experience makers, and excellence seekers of our industry to take your tourism business and career to a whole new level.
Relax.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. I am still in Bendigo and still being super inspired, and I've saved the best for last. I've got Rhianwen.
Hi.
Hi. Now, I am staying in a place where I feel like royalty here. And Rhianwen here, please share with us where we are at the moment.
Well, Despina, we are staying, or you're staying, at the residence of MacKenzie Quarters.
Residence of MacKenzie Quarters. And tell me about the history. We've talked a lot about history in Bendigo today. Yes. I've stripped the layers of Bendigo and I can't wait already to come back. There's a lot. So tell me about the history of the MacKenzie's Quarters and the residence of where we are here.
Yeah, sure. Well, the residence was built back in 1877. It was actually built it was commissioned to be built by the Anglican Church beside us, the All Saints Cathedral. And it was built as a master's residence for the school, which was also commissioned by the Anglican Church. And so the school principals were to live here back in 1877, but unfortunately that didn't happen. The school actually never functioned as a school. It actually became more of a Sunday school and a community venue or hub back in those days. And this residence was actually housed the deans of the cathedral. So
amazing. There is so much specialness and unique. I've never stayed at a residence like this, or an accommodation. It's, again, and every corner, guys, that you see in this place is touched with unique artifacts and pieces.
That's my husband's unique collection.
A unique collection you really need to see. It's almost like a little museum in itself, like to come and enjoy and delight. Now, there's 5 bedrooms here, and it's something like, so I guess what type of people would come and enjoy the residence?
Well, the building itself is a Gothic revival style building, and we've tried to, as you mentioned, furnish it with some, I guess, pieces that characterise that era that it was built. And the people that then we attract are a group of friends going away for a weekend, or we get a lot of families coming away, 2 sets of families, because there's lots of space, obviously, for everyone. And we cater to families. But we actually, when we set this up, thought, when you go away, it's really nice to not have to pack all of the toys for the kids and everything, and be able to go away and have your kids entertained, but also have you. So we really tried to cater to families as well. But we also have a lot of work traffic during the week. So groups coming away to work on a project, or coming into town, tradespeople coming into town to work on fit outs. We often have NBN or Telstra people, those sorts of things. So we have lots of different groups coming in, photographers coming in during the week. So yeah, all different. We have like wedding groups as well, or bridesmaids and getting together for a hen's weekend or things like that.
Oh, it's so perfect for any type of retreat, getaway. You can really see. And your vision, it's just like the layers have been peeled off Bendigo. The layers were peeled off MacKenzie's Quarters. It was just one surprise after the other. Tell me about the vision and seeing this big vision through.
Yeah, sure.
Like this.
So the vision was, when we got married back in 2003, it's a while ago now, we were really inspired and had to set up our own wedding reception venue. And when we actually went to France on our honeymoon, and we stayed in a villa type arrangement, which wasn't a B&B. It was a bed, but also dinner at the table with the hosts. And so the hosts would cook dinner, and there were, 4 or 5 different couples or groups of people that stayed at this, it's like a mini hotel, like us, or a boutique hotel, I guess you could say. And they would cook the home-cooked meal, and you would buy the wine that they had in their cellar, and you would share the table with other guests from all around the world.
Wow.
And we really loved that concept of bringing people together and opening up this beautiful historic home. And that combined with our wedding, we thought we'd really love to open up an accommodation and a wedding reception venue. So that was 16 years ago, and we sort of went off on our careers. I was in recruitment and my husband was as a lawyer, and we just saved, and work towards, finding the right venue. Every so often we'd sort of have a look at what was in the market. And then, between Melbourne and Bendigo, we were living in Melbourne at the time. And so we thought, Bendigo was as furthest that we would be prepared to go. And I grew up in Bendigo, so it was very familiar to us. And he's a country kid as well from Shepparton Way. And so then we found this property back in 2014, and it has obviously this beautiful house, the residence, but it also has the school hall as well, and the basement, which you've just had a little sneaky tour of. And we thought, well, that's perfect because we can run the weddings and then we can do the accommodation in the house. So, and the basement was just a bit of a bonus. And as you now know, we're planning on opening a lounge bar next year for that. So, yeah, so that was the dream, and we've just set about making it happen, chipping away at it. We had to. The buildings have a heritage overlay inside and out, so we had to go through council first of all to get a planning permit, and also because any change that we make to the walls, paints, anything like that, we have to get approval from council to go through that process. We also changed the use. So ironically, the building was built as a school, a place of assembly, but because it had been used as a op shop when we bought it, it had then been reclassified to retail. So then we had to set about changing the use back to a place of assembly. And so when you change the use of a building, which I now know, it kicks in all of these, requirements that you need to make the building safe and accessible and, practical for use. But obviously the building was built in 1877, so that's challenging to bring it up to, 2019 standards. So, yeah. So
incredible.
It was a bit of a long process. We had to go through the approval process and the planning process and then the design process, so the interior design and working out the vision for the fit out. So, but it was fun. I think you've got to enjoy the journey. When we spoke about this earlier, because you have to stop, and I think we're not hurrying towards a destination. Nobody wants to hurry towards death, as I said.
So true.
So we've got to stop and enjoy the journey, and you learn so much along the way with the journey as well. There are a lot of tears. There's a lot of there's a few drinks. There's a few red wines.
Yeah.
But
what have been some of the key learnings so far? Like what if someone could have given you? I mean, because what I love is that the vision, you've had a long-term vision, which is so important when you're going towards a goal. Yeah. Like the fact that, I'm walking around with you, I see like, this must be surreal for you. Yeah. Like to see this coming into reality now. I can feel that. You're right. I
mean, we hosted our first wedding on the weekend, and it was very surreal. I was like, wow, this has been, a long vision, and a building site for so long. But I think what's been important in that is, and I call them big rocks. So you sort of break down, you've got this big vision, but you've got to break it down we've had to break it down into manageable chunks that we can then, big rocks that we can then work towards and achieve and celebrate along the way. So part of this was obviously doing the accommodation first. We've had the accommodation up and running since 2015, and that was good. And then the opportunity to sort of reflect on how we renovated this and the tradespeople that we used and what we learnt from this, but also then to understand, is there a market for our future development as well? So then we realised, there's definitely a market to, a gap in the market to host weddings. So we definitely then were, I guess, reassured that the long-term vision was, I guess, a sustainable choice.
Yes.
And worth putting money into.
Some of those key learnings for people that think sometimes don't really hold on to the vision or that goal as a reality. Sounds like you and your husband were both on the same page, that this isn't just a wish, we're going to make this happen. What would be like some of your key learnings to stick with it, to stick what it is that you want to achieve?
Interesting you say that, because there have been times where I've sat him down and I said, you know what, now is the time. If we don't have to do this. We could sell it all and get out. So we have had the opportunity to perhaps, and it isn't, I think, important, because you're right, like when you set your goal, things change along the way, and your situation might change or your circumstances might change. So it has been really important to sit back and reflect and go, do we really want this again? Because I've said, let's sell it all. Let's go on a sabbatical for a year. Let's retire and then start afresh. And we've both come back to, no, actually, we really want to see this through. We love these buildings now, and we love the fact that we've contributed to, to restoring them and to bringing them back to life for Bendigo and for other people to then enjoy them. So, it can't, that aligns with our values. And so we've kept going on the project because of that as well. But it's, not easy.
Oh.
And then, especially when you're married to the person that you work with or that you've got a dream. Yeah.
Is it like so far in this and is there something you wish someone said to you, or looking back now in embarking on what you have done so far?
I think, that's a really tricky one. It's something that you wish I had have known.
Yeah.
I think perhaps in what I've said to you that it's okay to break it down, to not want it all, to not try and get it all straight away.
Get overwhelmed by it all. Yeah.
It's okay to try and break it down into those manageable chunks because you can do it in stages. You don't have to do it all at once and have it all right from the word go, and that it is constantly that learning along the way that then helps you to then refocus, redirect, or, keep going on the track that you were going on.
Yes.
So
what I love, you shared with me earlier, you recently took yourself away to a business retreat for yourself.
Yes.
I love that. How important is that for businesses, whether they're starting out or well into their business, to take themselves away to do that? How did you find that? What led you to that?
Yes, yeah.
How did you come back?
Well, there was a local group, a Bendigo group, that organised it. Friendly Savage actually organised it, and they're a marketing group, and they were sort of, spruiking the fact that they would help with a marketing plan. And I thought, you know what, how often I really need to sit back and I need to write my marketing plan. It's in my head, but I probably just need to find the time to do that. And I've got 3 children, and my business hours are from 9 until 3:30.
Yeah.
And so I have to try and fit everything in there, and it's really tricky to fit it all in at that time. And so I thought, well, if I take myself away and take that parenting element out of it and the business out of it and just spend time thinking and working on the business instead of working in it, then I can have some quality time to then refocus and actually to recharge. I think it was important for me to be able to recharge. And I think also being around, because there were other women who were in the retreat as well who were also small business owners and, at different stages of their business, just being able to bounce ideas off them and share and get an opinion on that, had they done that before and what had worked, what hadn't worked, and then to be able to utilise that knowledge. It was really powerful. And so important. Stuff. For me, I came away and thought, I'm going to do this every year.
Good for you. It is important.
Yeah, totally. And plus it was in Bali, so it was just beautiful weather.
Happy days. Happy days.
Who doesn't mind a bit of warm weather in the middle of winter? So,
locked in.
Tempting.
It's also your first experience work in the tourism landscape.
Yes, true.
Or working in the visitor economy, so to speak.
Yes.
How have you found that experience? I mean, in terms of, you sound like you're an avid student for life.
Yeah.
You're an avid learner. I'm interested to hear someone that's come green to tourism.
Yeah.
What's that been like for you?
Well, I remember I went to the Victorian Tourism Conference last year and I actually came away totally inspired by that. But also I was like, wow, there's a whole world here I had no idea about, because I'm usually the tourist, not the provider.
Yes.
So that was a big eye-opener for me. And wow, and look at, really intrigued about this whole new industry that I hadn't been really at all aware of. So
and that's what I love, that you've gone into it with your vision and your values and something that planted the seed in the early days of getting married. And then there's this whole new world you've entered. Yeah, that is really cool.
And I think also I'm in my early 40s and I say that now, but I'm about to turn 44, so I'm like, okay, it's like mid-40s now. So I'm just saying early 40s for the purpose of this conversation. And so to be the student back again in your early 40s is quite, I was like, wow, I have got all this life experience, but I don't have it in tourism. And so I did walk away just going, wow, okay, there's a lot of learning to be had and there's a lot of room to do it. And but I also felt truly, I guess, acknowledged for my contribution for being there, but also very welcomed. Like I feel, and I feel that with Bendigo Tourism in particular, they've been so welcoming and so supportive of, and they're quite innovative. They're always looking for, new ideas or partnerships or collaboration, and there's loads of support here. So I think I'm really lucky that I picked Bendigo to run my dream in.
Absolutely.
Because they just have been inspiring and supportive, and that's just, I guess, pushed me on, egged me on, really.
Yes.
Knowing that, that I've got the support of the community behind me, and the industry body in town. So that's kind of nice. I feel like, even if they've not been meant to be like that, that's how I feel.
Look, I've been talking about the vibe all day today. There's definitely it's strong. The community spirit, particularly within the business community, and the collaborative nature, you can really see that coming from your local council and from Bendigo Tourism. There's a lot of the regional tourism organisations, but it has been inspiring even for me to see that and see so much see so much innovation and collaboration done really differently, which has been really fresh and nice to see. Which has been great. Look, in terms of, God, I've got so much more to ask you now. My mind's scrambling. In terms of just going back to that, you're running your business with your husband and you've got your 3 kids. I think there is a concept, there's a lot of people out there that are wishing to do something else or to change, whether it's start a new business or change their career.
Yep.
But, fear can set in and stop them from doing that. I guess just any parting advice through your years, what you've done, like for anyone that's looking for change.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I have to say, I had always thought I'd run my own business. My parents were farmers and my mum's a bit entrepreneurial. She sort of, she wrote a book. She did all this, she was university lecturer. She did so many different jobs. And she was always sort of, there was always something new, and, she was happy to give anything a go. So I think I came from perhaps that inspiring background.
Yes.
And so I always thought I'd do it. I thought I'd do it a lot younger. And then, fear got in the way. And I think, I don't have enough experience. I don't know enough. I've got to go and educate myself again. I've got 2 degrees and now I'm not working in either of them. So it's interesting. But they assist with, that knowledge and life experience. But I think I perhaps wish I had now. I wish I had have done it sooner, because now that I'm here doing it, and the first time, this isn't my first business. I did start another business and I sold that one. It was completely unrelated to what I'm now doing. But I was like, I learned so much from starting that. And I just think that when you start something and you give it a go, what's the worst that can happen? If you don't ever start it, you don't ever know.
Yeah.
So actually the worst thing is that you don't ever start.
That's the worst.
That's the worst. So I think just giving it a go and doing it. And my first business, I'm going to say I happily failed. And this is probably my learning, is that I was really afraid of failing. And then I failed. But my goal was too huge. My goal was world domination. And I'm like, you know what? That's a tough goal to meet. Clearly failed in that one. And so as soon as I guess I admitted that I'd failed, failure is not a bad thing.
No.
It's actually a really good space that you can then learn from, and then it inspires you to do something else or different.
Your launch pad to here, isn't it?
Exactly. Then you start this. So I would say that's
so good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, you've got a recruitment background and you're at the forefront of building your A-team.
Yes.
What are the things you're going to look for in terms of building the right team? Because I know there's a lot of challenge, and Bendigo is on another level from a small regional town.
Yeah.
There's challenge sometimes in region to find good hospitality staff for some regions. What are going to be some of your non-negotiables, your no tolerance? I guess have you given that some thought in the team that you're building, what you're looking for?
So I have, and I think I see the employee and employer relationship as being very much a partnership. So it's really us working together. They don't work for me. I don't work that. I don't want that to be the philosophy of our employment situation. It's really a partnership. We can't run the business without employees. Obviously they can't be employed unless there's a business. So it's really a mutual arrangement. And I think the way that we go about the type of people that we recruit will all it's really about that alignment with the values that we've set for the business and that attitude. Because you can train skills, but you can't train that alignment of values. And just because the values potentially don't align doesn't mean that they're just not the right person for our business. They're probably the right person for another business.
Yes.
So I kind of see like and likewise, if they feel like their values that we've got aren't aligned with them, then that's not necessarily a good match either. So, I think that the crucial part of recruitment is making sure that you recruit, well, for us, number one, values, and number two, that attitude. It's so important.
Brilliant. So many gold nuggets that I've taken away from my conversation with you and the day. How can our listeners and our viewers find out more about you?
Right.
And this wonderful, almost like an attraction unto itself. It's not just a combination. How can we find out more about you?
Yeah, well, we have our own website. So we're at MackenzieQuarters.com. And we're on Facebook and we're on Instagram. So it's all under
tag everything. Yes. Yeah.
So it's all under MacKenzie Quarters. Or the Residence has its own Instagram page as well. So the Residence Bendigo. And I guess if you Googled, you could probably
find out more.
Find out more as well.
But we'll put all of those links to check it out. And even that would have been a journey for you. Booking systems. We've talked a bit about booking systems today.
Yeah.
Finding out the
right ones.
For the right run.
Well, so it's actually interesting. For the residents, we use Bendigo Tourism have a site.
Yeah.
And we use Airbnb.
Yeah.
And we use Home Away. And we also can book directly as well.
Yeah.
So that was a big learning with those. I'd love ours. I have to manually keep ours aligned at the moment because we don't have instant book. So that's been and I'd rather, just with the type of venue that we've got, we're not quite ready to go onto instant book yet. So we have a personalised greeting service. All our guests are greeted, shown through the property and explained, about the property. Because it's an old property. There's, little bits and pieces that perhaps you want to feel a bit more comfortable about before you or when you arrive.
Yes.
And actually with our weddings and events space next door, I've just joined up with Function Tracker, and they're an Australian-based.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's based in Sydney, a mum, and she set up her own event management business. So it's an online tool and
brilliant
called Function Tracker. It's great, actually. I'm really enjoying it. So it can do everything from, calendar management, diary management, through to quoting, kitchen, produces all your run sheets. It's actually... I'm a bit of a fan.
Function Tracker.
Function Tracker. And it's
so
Australian,
good.
so I think that's
even
nice
better.
To support local.
Yes.
There's a lot of those systems out there, but a lot of them are American, or international.
Yes.
So it talks Australian lingo.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And all the S's are not Z.
Yeah, exactly. The spelling's right.
Yeah, customise.
Yeah. So
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying back and chatting to me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I will shout you and your story from the rooftops. Thank you for everyone for joining us and listening to our conversation on Tourism Hub. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Yeah, come for a drink in the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, when the bar opens in February.
In February, the public bar.
Yeah,
is that going to have a different name?
Yes, it'll be called Ms. Batterham's.
Oh, the Ms. Batterham's.
Yes.
That's the yes. Which has the story.
Yes, so my mum went to kindergarten in the hall next door. So her teacher, her teacher was her kindergarten teacher was Miss Batterham.
What a cool
She used to call her Batty.
Batty. Miss Batty.
It's behind her back.
I love it. Thank you again. I wish you all the best, and I will be back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Relax.